You're good to go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Thursday, June 9th, 2022, called to order at 1 p.m. And in lieu of roll call, I'll call roll. Terry Majewski is here. Savannah McDonald.
Here.
Carol Griffith.
Here.
Ricky Riojas.
Here.
Joel Ireland.
Here.
And Commissioner Mulder is not yet on, but she may be able to join us. So thank you. Item 2 is approval of legal action report / minutes for the meeting of May 26, 2022. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
I so move.
Thank you.
Joel, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and call roll for approval of the motion. Terry votes aye. Savannah?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Yes.
Great, thank you. The minutes, the legal action report minutes for May 26th, 2022 are approved as submitted 5-0. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 3. Historic Preservation Zone review cases, and we review these under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0.0, Historic District Design Guidelines, and the revised Secretary of the Interior Standards and Guidelines. Case 3A is HPZ 22-022 at 522 West 17th Street. This is a new single-family residence with attached accessory unit, ADU, renovation of existing adobe structure to be converted as an ADU, and it's a full review, and it's in the Barrio Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource. We'll be using rehabilitation standards. Staff, is there an introduction to this case?
Yes, so this property or project went to the Barrio Historic Zone Advisory Board on May 9th, and it was approved or recommended for approval as presented. This is a project you'll recall, it was on the last PRS meeting agenda, but due to a lack of quorum, it was trailed to today's meeting. It's from Bob Vince's office, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but I want to say it's something like Christopher, but I could totally be wrong on that.
You're close, Christian. Christian Sanchez. I'm going to be representing Bob today because he is currently with COVID. So I will be presenting our projects on our behalf.
Okay, Christian, could you hold on just 1 second?
No problem.
Jan, I have you joining at 1:02 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that she is here. Okay, so Christian, go ahead and present your project, please.
Great. So let me share right here, screen 2. Okay. Now everybody should be able to see what I see. So we are currently making a proposal for a infill residence in Barrio El Hoyo. So this is our kind of aerial map. So we have the 10 to the west. We're in between Main Avenue and then 17th Street right here. Kind of begin to zoom in. We're near the Carrillo Elementary School to the east, and our site's going to be, as we zoom in, this area right here. So we're 4 lots from the west going east. So this is our property. And our infill lot. So here are the current contributing, I apologize. Here's the existing development zone. So here's our property highlighted in red. These are all the contributing buildings. Majority are old adobe structures, predominantly hip roof and flat roof. Some do have a gable roof. Well, I believe our property has a gable roof and a few of the others, but a number of properties have a variety of roof types. We have the development zone kind of cuts in to the south, kind of a little bit adjacent, more east on 17th Street. And yes, so here's our property, the existing street elevation. So again, you can kind of see a number of the old adobe structures. Some have a roof parapet and a combination of a gable or a sloped shed roof. Our property itself, the actual property, has a gabled roof, and some of the other roofs are flat roofs. And this is going to be prevalent when we present the design, as this was what kind of developed the roof form and the shape for the new addition. So here's the elevation to the south. There are currently no doors or existing penetrations. It's simply boarded up. But again, we still have that gabled roof. These are old solid adobe, mud adobe walls. We have a corrugated metal roof, which is already kind of rusting, and kind of zinc is kind of already been corroded, so we kind of see it rusted to the east. This is kind of the rear area. We're looking west. This wall over here is the only remaining wall that's standing, as you can see. One of these walls already collapsed as we were before the client came to us and was trying to get the design brought forward. And yeah, so kind of going through the history of the area, we can see we had our existing 2-room adobe with the gable roof, and over time it had these additions that were added on and kind of infilled. The lot basically was pretty much totally utilized for a period of time, as we can kind of zoom in. So we kind of have these two little almost like courtyard areas surrounded by structures. It ended up going from a single 2-room adobe to up to a triplex. Presently, that has been removed and only the remaining adobe structure exists. And as you can kind of see I believe this is from 2020, this area kind of shows the wall before it collapsed. So this was what was there in the interim. Let me zoom out right here. So now, if I can get my laser pointer, kind of looking to the street, this is our street view opposite of us. I think it's owned by the city water department. It's city property. And then here's the existing street context. So kind of seeing that a lot of these adobe structures, again, have the gabled roof. And then they have like these little front yards, which is basically the city right of way. So technically there aren't any front yards. Everything is built to the 0 lot line. And that's also another thing that I should mention from earlier, is that a lot of the homes are built to a 0 lot line here in this particular area. So that's going to be important in regards to our design as well. So continuing on, you kind of see these structures, how they kind of made a little front little garden area. They kind of decorated these areas and landscaped them and vegetated them, and kind of created these little rooms in the kind of the street area. But yes, here's our existing residence and some of the other residences, again, kind of showing the shed roof parapet. We're going to be kind of going into this area right here, which is, you kind of see we're pretty much at a 0 lot line with only about a 2-foot gap between structures right here. And again, this is very common. You can kind of see on this wall right here, there's pretty much a solid wall. They did add a few openings, but this is something that we took precedent of when designing our new addition. And again, you can kind of see how these houses are pretty close and tight in this area. So there's a very high lot utilization here. This is kind of looking east towards Maine, and just an existing, just a beautiful wall I think Bob had prepared in the presentation. But some of the fencing materials, how again we're coming to a 0 lot line, and use the structure here. In this instance, they used this structure as part of a wall, then extended the fence out. Here's our alleyway, which we're proposing we're going to have access to access the rear covered carport. And again, this is just showing, again, 0 lot line, solid masonry wall construction, so forth here. This is the backyard area, kind of looking, I believe, south. So we're at the alley right here, and you can kind of see there's a pretty significant grade change between the site. So yeah, so here's the existing site plan. Again, we're HR 03, so we have possibility for increasing our density. We have kind of a lot of flexibility. We do have the existing setbacks as put on the plan, which are 10 feet or 2/3 the height, but because we are in the historic zone, we were approved for 0 lot line, just because that's the existing, how all the existing contributing structures are. And here's our proposal. So what we're proposing is to make the existing structure as an attached ADU as permitted by the new ADU ordinance, and then building a new single family addition to the north. And this is, we're basing it off of a courtyard design where everything is looking inward. So we'll have solid masonry walls on the north and to the south, and to the east and the west, or I'm sorry, to the north and south, we'll have our openings. To the east and the west, we'll have solid walls. And this kind of maintains our privacy between our neighbors, but it also allows for, allow us to have this courtyard concept and be fully realized, kind of this inward approach. So here's the current plan. So you're gonna come through an entry court. We have trash and cycling on site right here. You kind of step down, and then you have a courtyard. This new wall right here will be masonry construction. If you see what's in gray right here, this is the existing adobe structure. We have living, dining, kitchen, bath. So this will be our one room adobe, our one room ADU. This is going to be approximately 628 square feet. So we're just under the permitted for our zoning, which I think is 650 is the maximum if you have a lot less than 5,000 square feet. And our lot size is approximately, I believe it was 3,000. Yeah, it's about 3,360 square feet. The new addition will have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and we'll have an inward looking courtyard. We'll have a covered carport with access to storage. This will be fully enclosed, and we'll kind of have a roll-up door. And yeah, so we'll have these, again, kind of focusing on the courtyard concept, solid masonry walls, 0 lot line. And then when we kind of see the roof, we have more of a hipped roof in between, or I'm sorry, kind of a gabled roof, kind of as we kind of segment and build up these areas and kind of extend it out here to the north. And of course, still maintaining this gabled roof, but then extending the gable out to the new addition and kind of connecting it all together. Looking at the proposed elevations, this is the new south elevation. So we're trying to propose wood frame, solid wood doors, and wood double hung windows that will be compatible and that are fitting within the barrio historic context. Same to the north elevation. Here we're kind of playing on a little bit with the barrio, where they kind of have the gable roof, and then they kind of have a little attached shed on top next to it. And again, wood door, wood windows, double hung. And then we have our covered carport right here, which will basically be a shed roof. And that will come from this kind of tall parapet wall, which, as you'll see in the plan, allowed what something we had to do as an intervention to kind of separate the drainage. So looking to the east and the west, again, we have solid walls. So we're using the existing walls for the house as to kind of provide privacy, but also showing how we can react to the site context. Excuse me, I have a little bit of water. We are proposing that the new addition will be a new smooth stucco finish to contrast the old kind of almost orange peel like texture of the existing residence to kind of differentiate it. We are keeping a typical similar roof form, but in order for us to differentiate the old from the new, we are putting a concealed gutter system to kind of address drainage. The owner is willing to have on-site water harvesting. So that's going to be, we're going to have storage in those areas in the central courtyards. And then we'll still have the corrugated galvanized metal roofing, but it will not be a rust finish. It will be standard zinc. So it will have the original finish as it once did before it corroded. And then here's a section. So this is kind of going through the existing adobe house. So we're a little bit sunken in. So that's why we're kind of stepping down into our courtyard area for the private ADU residence. And then we have the main residence right here with its own private courtyard. And this is just kind of looking at another cross section, just showing again the roof forms, and I can zoom in right here for clarity, the concealed gutter system, which is basically right here. So we're kind of lining it up to the masonry and having it tie in. So this is a way that we can differentiate the new addition from the old. Yeah, so here again is the existing neighborhood HPC color palette. So there's a variety of colors we can pick from. So the owner, that's yet to be determined, but we want to work within kind of the aesthetic of the variance of color. So there's pinks and whites and creams and oranges. So a little bit of variety. We still want to, again, use the galvanized metal fencing for in the area, in the courtyards for privacy, and in the rear. Again, we're going to use a corrugated metal roofing, and then the stucco finish, as seen from the front, it has almost this like orange peel kind of aesthetic. But we're going to do a smooth finish for the new addition. And that is all. I'm free to answer any questions.
Oh, great, thank you. Commissioners, who would like to start with questions? Savannah, do you want to start?
No, I don't have any at this moment.
This is Joel. Terry, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so just in the for the historical context, you said that there was a triplex in the rear. What happened to that?
So I believe over time, what ended up happening was they demoed it. I think if we kind of go back to the aerial from the historic, it looks like we had, this is our area right here. I'll pull my, so this is our property right here. And so we had an addition here and an addition here, and it looks like we had an addition here.
You know, I'm having trouble on the screen. Just 1 second, okay?
Sure, no problem.
Oh, gosh, darn it. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. Go
Sure, no,
ahead.
you're fine. So here's our main two-room adobe structure. And it looks like what ended up happening was where we have that collapsed room, it looked like we had an addition here. And then in the middle, they had another addition. So since we have those two door openings, it looks like they had a solid wall in between. They kind of filled in the opening that's currently here. We show you site photos, which are included in the presentation. But it looked like this was one room, another structure, and then they did a third structure. And the reason why we can state that is because if you look at the exterior elevation, you can see, if I can get my zoom in, but sorry. If you kind of come here, we have 3 electrical meters here. So it just shows that we had an addition, we had these existing star structures. Now, when the owner purchased the property, it was already, as we see in the final area, which right here, this is what he purchased, and I believe this is the latest satellite imagery in 2021. So this is what he ended up purchasing, but during a monsoon season, which I believe was like when we had a really wet monsoon season, this wall collapsed. So that's what we show in the existing kind of collapsed area right here, where this wall right here collapsed, but this still is standing. So we're going to keep this, but this we're going to kind of replace with a masonry building or masonry wall.
And can I ask, I've got a couple more. Where's the mechanical proposed?
So for the mechanical, we are proposing, I believe, to do rooftop. Let me pull it up. The roof plan right here. I think for one area, what we were considering, this was one thing that we were thinking about, was putting, I think, mechanical actually in this rear area right here. Originally, we were proposing putting rooftop, but we actually decided that we're going to put the mechanical in this rear kind of area because we have the room in the yard. For the
both structures?
I'm sorry?
For both structures that.
So I think for the main residence, for the new addition will be here. And then for this, the ADU / existing, we were going to most likely do not a PTAC, I'm sorry, a mini split. And that would be in this area. So we'd have enough room in this courtyard right here to put a split right here.
Okay. All right, so they're both, nothing's visible from the street, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yes, so if you see from the elevation, right here, we tried to kind of keep the, based off because of the site, it slopes. You'll see part of the new structure, but it won't be much because of the way the perspective is actually skewed. So what's in gray from right here on, you'll actually be seeing the neighbor's property because the lots are just slightly skewed. But yeah, and in terms of the section, we kind of keep the roof line, but the actually existing home is actually just a little bit taller than the new because we are sloping down. Even though we do have 10-foot high ceilings, so we have a higher ceiling, taller walls, but you don't see that visually. So it's kind of really kind of works in our favor.
And can you just, I have one more. What is the square footage of the addition? 628 was the old place.
628 is going to be the new kind of attached ADU with the new bedroom. And then the 3-bedroom, 2-bath addition is going to be 1,400 square feet. And that's gross.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who'd like to go next? Jan or Ricky?
This is Ricky. I don't have any questions.
Jan?
I don't have any questions. It just, I guess my only comment to follow up on Joel is, especially because it's not shown on the plans at this point, it sounds like we might want to specify that the HVAC systems are going to be ground mounted and not on the roof.
Good addition. Okay, Carol?
I don't have any questions either.
Okay, so Savannah, did you have any follow-ups?
Just a little, yeah, thanks. So I was just looking at the south elevation, there's a gate and fencing proposed. I'm sorry if I missed that, but can you just describe that a little bit, what that will look like at that elevation?
Sure. So this is actually going to be a masonry, just a masonry wall with stucco finish. And then we do plan to either propose a standard just metal fencing, kind of a metal gate. And this is kind of an existing precedent for that. So our adjacent property, if we can pull it in here, let me see if I have a closer photo. So this is probably the best photo I can show. So this is our adjacent property where they have a masonry wall, and then they have a wooden private gate. But we're just kind of proposing more of a metal gate that just has the 4-inch spacing between bars. But we'll, instead of having kind of this decorative CMU, we'll just do a solid CMU wall, but we'll plaster it over and kind of tie it in with the architecture. And that's kind of, you kind of see the gate right here of our existing. It's just a solid fence in this area right here that we're basically removing, so that becomes a passageway.
Great, thanks. I mean, that all sounds fine to me. Is that because it's a little still to be designed and detailed? Is that something that needs to go to biohistorico at some point?
I don't know. I mean, as a minor review?
Yeah, just because it's a little vague. I mean, I think as proposed, it sounds in line, but it's a little.
They were pretty,
It's
they
on the
went over
plan.
the plans extensively and they didn't ask for one. I mean, it's pretty simplified. I guess if it got overly decorative, then I would send it back. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was on the plans. It's really shouldn't be anything different than what it's showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they know that if there are changes, to what has been, what is ultimately approved, then they know to come back for a minor review or a change in condition, right? Christian, you guys are aware of that, right?
I mean, yes, and I mean, what we're trying to do is just try to keep it within the design itself. I don't think we want to change anything that we have proposed in terms of exterior facade. just because we really try to hash it out and hone it out before the client carries on with the design. So yeah, so there's no intent on changing it. I mean, it is derived from the historic precedent, just kind of, again, keeping that masonry wall and then just having a gate. And some of them are metal, some of them are metal with wood slat infill. So that's just in terms of context, that's what we're proposing. So we're not trying to change it where it's going to be super ornamentated and totally incompatible. We want to be within the compatibility of the design of the barrio, which is, simple materials, economical materials, but, obviously it's done, it's, meant to fit with the context. But yes, we are aware if there's any changes outside of what we're showing, that would most likely have to go through a minor review. But our intent is not to have to go through that process, so.
Okay.
Terry, Joel,
Sounds
just,
good.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
Did
Just
you
one,
have-
follow, just on that discussion. And the doors are as pictured here. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to be wooden or,
Yes.
compatible materials and things like that. Yeah, okay, good deal.
Okay, Savannah, were you finished?
Yeah, I just had one comment on the same elevation. There's, is it the electrical service, the meter up on the wall? Is that gonna be relocated? Are you able to get that off that elevation at all?
Well, I think this was something that was brought up, and forgive me if I am not quoting correctly. I think what may end up happening, because we have the existing power pole, I'll see if I can locate it on a photo here. We have an existing power pole here, so it does connect. I mean, ideally, we'd want to do underground utilities, most likely. So that's our first intent, but if not, then we would, if for some reason we're not able to, we're still able to connect to here, but it would have to be aerial. But that's kind of has precedent, as shown right here, connecting to these adjacent structures. So ideally, we'd like underground. I believe that's what we're going to be pursuing primarily. And if that's not possible, then we'll have to do, of course, the aerial, but most likely we're going to do underground.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no other questions, are there any things we'd like to raise in a motion?
I just had one, this is Jan, I just had one follow-up to Savannah's question. If I understand that underground's your preference, then certainly it would be ours, but if it weren't underground, would you be able to locate it off to the side and not on the front of the structure, not on the front face?
I mean, preferably, I think that would actually be a great compromise if we do. I mean, this is not obviously ideal. So it would be nicer to have the meters even just behind the gate, which is very typical. Just somewhere so they're not fully revealed. And we have plenty of room based off the photo of the structure right here. So I can see that not being an issue. If we have to relocate it, we can definitely put it along this face right here.
Okay. Well, it's, Jan, if you wanted to make the motion and include that, I don't see it as an issue because it's existing. But it's, if that's something you want to put in a motion, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like when it's been new, I mean, I would think it's pretty much a new power connect, and that it's, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like probably not an imposition to ask it to be off the front face, but I'm willing.
Oh, no, I think from what,
corrected. Yeah.
Yeah, from what Christian said, it's
Yeah,
not an issue.
okay,
So
okay.
I don't object. I just thought
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So anyone else have any things they want to add to a motion, and maybe Jan will make it for us?
This is Joel again. Just in this question of the power thing, do they have design? I guess I'm asking the staff if they have a design in the barrio El Hoyo. Do they have a design packet, say like West University, guidelines? And if so, do they say anything about where the utilities come in? I mean, the reason I ask is I went down yesterday to sort of look around, and nearly every house on the block, the electricity comes in right in the front. And I'm wondering if that's a characteristic or something. And I'm asking the question. I'm going to go along with whatever the motion is. It's fine. I'm just sort of asking the question.
think always the preference is gonna be to have the electrical on the side. It's not on the front facade. As I recall, there's no comments in the design guidelines about it, but in my experience working with the electrical companies, they have to have a certain amount of clearance, and in Barrio, all the houses are kind of jammed together, which is why they don't have enough clearance to go on the side, which is why they're predominantly on the front.
Oh, I see. Okay, well,
And I think those are older examples too. And Christian just put up a slide of a side mount and, a couple
Yeah,
of
there it
those.
is.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that has, in that one, there's space on the side
Yeah.
too, but when there's a minimum amount and it doesn't meet their clearance,
Yeah.
it goes on the front.
Sure.
Yeah, I could say that from our measurement, I believe the opening on our side, I believe was like where we begin to taper. I think it's like 5'5" or 6, so just under 6. And then on here, it's about, I think we have like a 6'4" gap between here. So it kind of varies between the houses where the wall is. I know for sure over here, this is probably at least a 10-foot wide gap from what I think I previously measured. So they just vary between the houses, but I think that's something we could definitely consider. If it's ideal, again, it's always underground, conceal it. But if they require that, then we'll have to verify. I guess the utility company, I guess, will determine that TEP. That's something to definitely keep in mind.
Yeah, and I think to Joel's point, he was just wondering if it was a defining characteristic. And like Jody said, I doubt, always it kind of is a detractor, even though there's reasons for it. And I don't think it would affect the integrity, however it was done. So. Okay.
Yeah, Terry, that's right. It was just a question, really.
No, it was a good one. It's a good one. So Janet, are we ready?
Yeah, I guess so. If folks are okay with us expressing a preference based on the utility approval or something like that. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the term preferences seems
okay.
appropriate.
Good one.
Good. Somewhere. In the matter of HPZ 22-022 at 522 West 17th Street, we recommend approval as presented with the additional comments that the HVAC systems for both of the residences be ground mounted, and that we have a preference for the electric utility infrastructure being located on the south wall if agreeable to the utility.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion?
I guess
Oh, that's not, excuse me.
I wanted to make a correction for you.
Is
It's the east wall.
East? Yeah. East wall.
Okay, I don't think we need to do a modified motion for that, just a correction.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else? Ready to go ahead? Okay, Terry votes aye on the motion. Jan,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Joel,
Yes.
Savannah.
Aye.
It passes unanimously 6-0. And Christian, I'm sure you know the next part of the process, right?
Yes, and I will be speaking with Bob on that, so definitely.
Okay, and please tell Bob that we wish him a speedy recovery.
All right, we'll do. I'll be back for the third project.
Okay, I
we'll see
just was checking on that, Christian, that you're back for the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you in a minute then.
Thank you. Nice
Okay.
work.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's move on to case 3B, and that's HPZ 22021 at 720 South Fifth Avenue. This is in-kind replacement of 56 windows. It's a full review in the Armory Park Historic Preservation Zone. It's a non-contributing resource, and we'll be using the rehabilitation standards. And Jody, do you have background? You or Michael?
Yes, so this project was reviewed by the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory Board on May 17th. And Christian, can you stop sharing your screen? Sorry. Thank you. It was approved as presented for the project. Trisha Galvin is here to present the project.
Great, thank you. Hello, Tricia, and go ahead.
Hello. Yes, so I'm representing Lipville 2 LLC, which owns the it's an apartment building at 720 South Fifth Avenue. And so what we're proposing is right now the windows there are probably the original windows that were put in the late 60s, early 70s. And so they're in poor condition. And what we would like to do is we'd like to replace all of those windows. They're currently slide windows. I can just, oh, that didn't work. I didn't share my screen first. Hang on a second.
And Tricia, could you tell me again who you're affiliated with?
I am with the owner of the property, Lipville 2 LLC. So I'm not an architect or anything
Okay.
like that. So
Thank you.
let me put all of this down. So hang on a second. I'm going to get got too many things open. Okay. So the windows are currently slide windows, and so
Tricia, we're just, oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay.
so this is what the windows look like, and so they're currently slide windows, slide to slide, and we are proposing that we're going to do windows exactly like this. They're going to be we're not adding any windows, we're not changing the size of them, so they'll still go into the existing format. The only change that we're proposing is right now that they are aluminum, and we would like to change to a silver vinyl, which will look, it'll be vinyl, but it'll still be silver. So the appearance, anything more than a few feet away they're going to look essentially the same, but the vinyl windows will be more energy efficient. And I think will end up lasting for a fairly long time. I don't have a huge big proposal like the gentleman before me did, but I realized it's like, if you want to see where the Old Town Apartments are, this is where we're at. So we're right here on Fifth Avenue. And then, so we're sort of just off the way from 5 Point. So we are in the Armory Park district. So that's what we're requesting proposal for this, just to basically to change out from our perspective, like to like, and I understand that's not technically correct because we're changing materials from the aluminum to the vinyl, but that is the only change that we'd actually be making.
Tricia, did you have a picture of a vinyl window? I'm sorry, if you showed it, I missed it.
I don't have a picture of the actual window because I can't get that, but this is the material, like this is what the material would be for the sides in the middle, I guess you would want to call it.
Okay, thank you. Jody, I'm sorry, could you say again what Armory Park thought about the change to silver vinyl?
So there was some concerns about installing vinyl. The property is a non-contributing resource.
Right.
They asked for my opinion on it. And I stated, it's a non-contributing resource. They're not changing the opening size. They're keeping the same operation as currently what's there, and the color. And so even if they were to extend their period of significance, they would modify their period of significance and include this as a contributing resource at a later date. I didn't think that this would make this not eligible. I think if they were modifying the window opening or changing them to double hung windows, it would be a lot more problematic. But in its current configuration, I think that the proposal was acceptable.
Okay. And what was the final vote on the motion for Armory Park?
The final vote was, of course, because I closed those minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I knew I should have kept them open. It was 5-0.
So they approved. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they approved it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, do you have questions? No?
This is Jan, and having just reviewed Armory Park's comments and the discussion with Jody, I don't have any questions.
Okay, anyone else? Savannah?
No, and Terry, you'd asked about having an image of the window. There was one submitted that we saw, and it looks, the slider looks similar to the image too. So
Yeah, I just forgot to look at that again. So,
all right, so no, I'm good.
yeah, okay. Anyone else? Carol, Joel,
Aye.
I'm fine.
Ricky?
I don't have anything. It's pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
Then who would like to make a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay,
In the case of 22-021, 720 South Fifth Avenue, would recommend approval as presented with replacement of the windows in kind, with the exception of the use of vinyl rather than aluminum.
is there a second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, if not, I'll call roll. Terry says aye. Jan?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Joel?
Yes,
Savannah?
Aye.
Great, thank you. It passes unanimously 6-0. Ms. Galvin, are you familiar with the next steps, or do you need Jody to go over them?
I am not familiar with the next step, so I
Okay.
will need some help on that.
Yeah, she'll go ahead and explain right now.
Okay,
So both of these recommendations will be forwarded to the director, who will issue a decision letter. Once that decision letter is ready, we will send it to you, and there'll be from the date of the decision letter, a 14-day appeal period. If nobody appeals, then you're welcome to resubmit your plans with the decision letter and get the permit issued for the work.
okay,
If there is appeal, just so you know, if there is an appeal, we let you know, but it would go to mayor and council, and they would be the one to make the determination. During that time, when it's an appeal, you would not be able to get a permit issued.
okay, very good.
For the record, we don't get that many appeals, but I feel that I have to mention that.
I understand, so, okay, very good. Can I ask a question? What is a realistic expectation when the decision letter would go out and when the 14-day period would start?
Typically, we wait until we have the minutes to make sure that everything is good. And then Michael works on the decision letters, and we try to get those out as soon as possible.
Okay, all right.
Clear mud.
Absolutely, I understand. So, okay, very good. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to case 3C, which is HPZ 22026 at 616 East Fifth Street. This is for the construction of additional bedrooms. It's a full review in the West University Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. Jody, would you like to give us some background?
I will actually let Michael, this is the one
Oh, cool.
advisory board meeting that I don't attend.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I'll let him give you the rundown.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, this project was reviewed by West University Historic Zone Advisory Board on May 17, 2022. They reviewed it and it was recommended for approval with a vote of 5-0. And I can read the motion out to you, but you do have it. The motion was made to recommend approval of the drawings as presented, with the inclusion of the new masonry and galvanized fencing to be called out as materials and to dimension. The utility door, the utility door at the utility closet, at the washer and dryer cut to also have materials and dimensions. So when West University reviewed this, all these were not called out in the plans. But Bovint sent a revised plan, which you have it with you today, that these things that West University was asking for have been called out on the plans that you have before you today. So basically it was recommended for approval with a vote of 5-0. And I think Christian Sanchez will be here to present that review for you.
Great, thank you.
Great, so let me share my screen again. Great, so this is going to be for our project located in West University for Dale Lopez, who is currently right here. Again, our project where we're located is on 616 East 5th Street. We're just north of 6th Avenue, or 6th Street, and then 5th Street, sorry. I think I incorrectly said that. And then our project's actually located on the corner of 5th and Jacobus. So we are on a corner property. So this is our development zone. We are one of many contributing structures. The only non-contributing buildings will be our neighbors to the west and 2 of the houses to the south. But all the other structures themselves are all contributing and historic. This is our current development zone. So as one you kind of see, we have our existing structure, which we'll kind of zoom into. This is the non-contributing structure that is adjacent to us, but it tries to pull some of the historic context with the hip/gabled roofs, front porch, stone walls, masonry or construction or wood frame, but with stucco finish. That's kind of what we see opposite of our street to the north. Again, where they have the gabled roofs, which extends out to the porch. And then, of course, some of these structures themselves, when we go back to the aerial, kind of convert to a hipped roof, or as we see right here, and these other structures, contributing structures to the northwest. To the west side of Jacobus, this is our side property yard, where we're at right here. So we currently have no fencing as of right now, but again, you kind of see our hipped roof and our front porch. And then again, the 2 non-contributing structures, which we would say are out of scale and proportion to the historic context. But to the very southwest of the street, we have a masonry kind of bungalow. And then if we go further down, we have a masonry structure, but it has a flat roof. And then, of course, we have a few other kind of gabled roof structures. These people have a vinyl facade. These people have stucco. So there's a variety of facade material types within the neighborhood itself. And let's see, I can zoom out. And then here's our actual property itself. So to the north, again, we kind of show that we have some of the historic volcanic rock walls. And these were also used as part of the footings of the foundations. This is something that we will try and contrast with the new addition. And then again, of course, we have dappled stucco finish, hipped roof, and these are all going to be very important elements which are going to tie in with our new addition. So again, kind of looking inward, and also just to notice we have a rolled roofing, which is historic and was often an economical and way to roof, and is still historic, and it has precedent within the neighborhood, along with all the other structures, which has asphalt and tile, Spanish tile. This is the neighboring structure to the west, and of course they chose a masonry wall. You can kind of see that the proportions and the material types are very different from the historic context. It's something that we will try and avoid, but this is what we have to the west of us. And then on our side to the east, you can kind of see we have windows which are in scale, which are in proportion, wood, double hung. These are not painted, but they are wood, and they kind of match within, or kind of have the historic finish of the wood. We have a stone foundation slash footing that kind of extends, which is very typical of the period. And again, you kind of see the gabled roof with gutters. And yes, that's kind of that facade. And again, here's a close-up of the rear area, kind of showing our side yard. We have a galvanized metal fence, which kind of conceals our outdoor washer and dryer units, which was also very common of the period when new plumbing, et cetera, was happening. And yes, so within the, and we have also ground mechanical. So this is something that's going to remain in our proposal, what we would like to do. So we're not trying to put any rooftop mechanical in this project. Again, this is the east facade. Again, maintain the proportions of wood double hung windows, rolled roof. We have the, again, the kind of volcanic rock footing, and our front porch, hipped roof. So just kind of reinforcing these concepts. And that's going to be in our proposal. Again, here's the existing neighborhood context. Some have shingled roofs, some have tiled roofs, some are Spanish, some are hipped gables. So there's a variety of contexts. A lot of them have these masonry walls. These are kind of newer additional masonry walls, which kind of contrast against the old stone walls, as you kind of see right here. And so this is something that we want to make sure that we differentiate with our new proposal. So great. So I will escape out of this and go into the new plans. So for the new proposal itself, we are going to be doing this L-shaped addition right here. And I'll try and see if I can get my little pointer. So this is going to be our addition to the new house. So this was what you were seeing right here, kind of in this area. This is that existing washer and dryer unit, kind of, which was hidden behind that metal fencing right here. So this is that area that you're seeing right here, just for context. And so we are doing a 2-bedroom, 1-bath addition. I believe it's approximately 400 square feet, a little bit over that, 490 square feet. So just under 500. We're keeping the same setback to the west and to the east right here. This laser pointer kind of keeps changing on me, but basically that's what we're going to be maintaining. Obviously we're extending to the rear, but I believe we have over a 40-foot setback on here. So yeah, 47-foot setback kind of going across. And then we have our existing carport. So we're also proposing new masonry, galvanized metal fencing in this area right here. And then this is going to kind of be our masonry, new addition masonry extension, just to kind of conceal the mechanical unit, kind of tie in this rear backyard together, and just kind of enclose this and give a little bit more privacy for the owner. On the roof plan, we're proposing to do a rolled roofing. So we're trying to keep the existing roofing because it's economical and it's affordable. But we are proposing an alternate bid to see what the cost is for an asphalt shingle roofing. So contingent on the cost, we can have either or, but both are compatible. Both are within the historic context, as we saw from the earlier photos of the development zone. The contributing structures. And then of course, this is kind of the proposal for the elevation. So again, we're kind of continuing the new addition. There's a drop in the roof height. So this is kind of beginning to separate our new from the old. We're trying to die into the hip over here with this L extension. We are going to re-roof the old and the new structure so that they both have a new roof. Again, proposing that we have an optional asphalt shingles. We will try and continue the fascia across, so it will look similar. The stucco will be for the main structure is again a dappled stucco finish, so it's a little bit different, more of a coarse dash, I should say correctly. The new stucco will have a smooth sand finish to kind of contrast between the old and the new. And then rather than keep trying to replicate this stone footing, we are proposing to do a concrete footing. So this allows us to kind of contrast again the old with the new, but it allows us to have kind of differentiate it, but also tie in the structures together more cohesively. For the windows themselves, again, wood double hung windows, will be painted to match the existing windows. For the kind of, I guess, the sill, we're proposing a 4-inch sill versus the 8-inch sill. So that allows us to kind of contrast between here and here. So again, there's like that slight differentiation between old and new. We have our rear mechanical located to the west. So again, it's located on the ground, but it's going to be kind of hidden and concealed from view. And then we have on the north elevation, you won't really see the new addition, which is what we're trying to do is really tie it in. And to the back, you can kind of see this is our tie-in. So this is what we're proposing as the new, and you can kind of see the existing old structure up above kind of poking out. So this is our way of tying it within the existing historic context, but also trying to differentiate it. And I believe that's kind of, those are the main ways we're differentiating. As we look to the east, we have a galvanized metal fencing that kind of encloses that, again, that washer and dryer area. As you can see, you can tell between the old and the new. We have a drop in the roof height. So again, this is our new addition coming in this area right here, kind of tying into the existing. Again, same wood double hung windows, painted frame, 4-inch sill, rolled roofing. So we're trying to tie it in together as best as we can with the existing, but again, differentiating it according to the historic rehabilitation standards. So yes, and then as part of from the last reviews, from the comments we received, there's a little bit more information regarding the proposed fence. So in this area, which is west of Jacobus, which is the alleyway right here, this is going to be a masonry wall, CMU, and we're going to have a smooth cement kind of plaster sand finished, most likely to match the existing structure, or the new structure, I apologize. And then to the rear, we're going to maintain a galvanized zinc metal fencing, which is kind of what we have already, but we just want to build it out so that we can completely enclose this rear yard and kind of have privacy for carport parking, etc. And those are the main, I guess those are the main changes, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thank you, Christian. Who would like to start with questions?
I can start first this time.
Thank you.
So I guess I just want to clarify. There's not a demo plan. So what of the south facade of the existing structure gets removed? Are there windows to be removed? I mean, I see a window right there. Is that one's obviously just going to be infilled?
So this will be removed because this is part of an existing bedroom. And so we kind of have this really narrow hall, and this, I guess I can draw it normally right there. That's kind of like our narrow hall. So this is where our opening is going to be. So this wall will stay the same. We'll remove a portion of this roof. We will be having to change this portion of the roof so that we can actually carry our new addition over, which you do see on the change right here. So this is what we have as the existing. And it looks like, actually, I apologize, we're actually going to dye in our new roof into this. So this roof is actually staying, but it will be covered based off how our addition is, which is what you see with that dashed area right there. So the only infill area is going to be that rear window where that existing bedroom is right here. So this will be filled in. Then we'll make an opening into the wall. And then this door and stairwell already exists. This is already all existing. The courtyard.
Okay, thanks. And then that other window in that bedroom, that's not original, right? It looks so different.
This one, so this was done as an infill at a later period. It's probably most likely done in the 40s or 50s or 60s because of the window type. But this was actually a rear porch that was filled in over time. So that's why there's kind of the roof overhang, and it has a little bit of a differentiation between this art. So the house has had had additions over time.
Definitely
So-
performing.
That outline there, is that potentially an original like opening of that porch? Is that what that is
Yes.
showing?
So this right here, it looks like, yes, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can pull a photo of it. I believe you kind of see it better.
So there's like a
So
kind
there's
of
like,
a indication of that.
yeah, based off kind of the way the roof kind of form is.
Windows.
And I'll see if I can tie it, if I can get that west right here. So this kind of, that's the opposite elevation. Let me find the other. It looks like it's a little hidden here, so you can't really see it, or west and east. I apologize. Yeah, it's kind of tucked in behind this tree, so we can't see it. But yeah, if you kind of see it, just this little area right here, where we have this infill area that was filled in.
So there's some kind of evidence of that remaining on the.
Yeah, so if you kind of see, like, you see kind of how I guess the most evident way would be, wow, this is being real finicky, I apologize. The way this plaster is, I don't know if you're able to see how this is smooth, and then we have the roof. So this kind of shows where we basically infilled right here, or what was infilled previously in this area. So you kind of see the differentiation in texture finishes.
Oh, okay. We're just seeing that little edge of it. Okay.
Yeah, we're just seeing a little edge. So I apologize. I don't have a full wide.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm asking because there's just a lot of changes all happening in this one portion of the building. So,
Sure.
you know, I guess the point is that like that joint between the ridge, or, you know, what was previous, which is new, just needs to be really, like, I don't know, special attention, or like, you know, just really considered
Sure.
to distinguish, you know, because I think you've done that with the kind of the base material is concrete, but just I think that joint needs to be really clear.
Yeah.
Probably for movement and everything, for all the structural reasons too, but.
And that's why we do have we are proposing obviously the control joint right here. This is just showing that this is the kind of the extension of the existing facade, what's already there. So this is not changing. We're just kind of building off of that. But yes, it is important that we do differentiate that control joint. And also, I mean, how we're also addressing the roof, we're dropping it so you can kind of really distinguish between that old, that infill, and then our currently more modern new addition.
Yeah, I mean, I think I sometimes, like, I've seen other applicants kind of make a change in plane to just really like accentuate that difference between new and old. But I think it's fine to keep it in the same plane. But again, just make sure there's that joint there. And if you're doing it with the roof, I think that's good.
Okay, great.
The addition, when they enclose the porch, is that, I'm just curious, just pure interest, is that rubble foundation, like, did they cover that up with stucco for that portion? Because I see it like the rubble foundation ends and then it.
No, that would be a question that I don't have, apologize, I don't have an answer for that, but let me see what I can from the photos. So it looks like it did have, it was raised at one point, but it almost looks like they carried down the wall.
They covered it up.
They kind of covered it up because you kind of see this little opening right here. Now, granted, some of these porches can be, you know, like a floating porch, and then they just kind of put a material on it, kind of build it down, extend it down to the ground. So that would be something interesting to investigate, but I don't have a clear answer for that. But it does seem from that photo, and I wish, again, I had a fuller photo kind of looking. It looks like they did try and cover it up just a bit, but there is a little bit of rubble that you see.
Okay. And the finished floor of the house is going to be, you're matching.
We're maintaining
the original. Yeah. Okay.
That will be evident in the plan right here. So
Is that it, Savannah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, who'd like to go next with questions?
I don't have any. I had a similar question about that bedroom, whether it wasn't, it had been an earlier addition, and about the foundation there. But that's been answered, so thank you.
Great, you're welcome.
This is Joel. Yeah, just on that point while we're here, I also was struck by that window. And I don't know exactly what my question is. I guess we get in trouble as we hop over additions, because whenever this was, that steel casement window was put in there, and now we're putting on a addition with wooden double hung windows. I'm presuming that's true.
Yes.
And so it I don't know, it gives kind of an awkward transition for me, I guess, but I don't know that it disturbs the historical flow. So maybe I should ask staff that question, whether that's something that'll disturb the historical view there or something.
Jody, do you want to answer that?
Well, I kind of think I understand the question. I would say that, there's definitely modifications that achieve significance over time too. So they, even though they're not original to the house, they have their own merit. And, it is something that you have to weigh, because it's an addition too. So, do you want to have them maintain the window, but they're also making modifications to the back and the window that you're talking about is kind of on the back and has limited visibility, is it acceptable for them to make that change? I don't have heartburn over them removing that window. I think that as long as they have some other identifier that kind of points to that was an addition and this is an addition, I think that clearly lays out that it's not original to the house. Because you can also create that false sense of history when you're putting in the wood double hung window there, and there never was a wood double hung. I mean, the steel casement kind of speaks to the fact that there was a modification. But that being said, their stucco finishes that he was talking about earlier also speak to an earlier modification, and would be your tell, so to speak. It, if they did something where it was like, I mean, unfortunately, when they put that addition in or they enclosed that porch, they kind of blew everything out. But if they did something where they actually outlined where the larger opening was for the porch, that probably be more appropriate, because then if that would still be maintained, you can see that was a porch, and then that porch was enclosed, and then you did this addition on the back. So you see the progression of construction that happens with the building. I don't know that it helps you any.
I mean, I guess looking at the picture here closely, I guess I can maybe articulate my question better. I mean, and I understand what you're saying about it attaining historical significance. So maybe we ought to put encasement windows at the new addition if we're following that, or it looks fine this way. I'm just sort of asking to learn, really. So I'm okay with it.
Wait, so is your concern the windows on the addition matching too much the historic house? Or, sorry, I thought your concern was the steel casement window.
Well, it's sort of 6 and 1/2 and dozen the other. It's one of those things, yes. And it's fine like this, but you understand, I think my question is, if the casement window has historical significance and this new addition is following them, does that drive the style of the windows, or does the original house drive the style of the windows? You see what I'm saying?
Now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's the prerogative of the designer. So I mean, to some extent, I think that they have other things that are going to call out that this is an addition, and really that's what you're looking for. Even though they are complementary and they're close in design to the original double hung windows, you have a differentiating stucco, you have a differentiating stem wall, and those are your tells. So even though the windows are double hung, just like the original windows, you have other things that set it apart.
I get it. Yeah, good deal. Thank you. And then I don't know that I had any other, there's not going to be no change in the HVAC system.
If from what we have noted, the new addition has the same type of evaporative cooling unit as the existing part of the house, and it'll be placed on the far west side of the building, so it won't be noticeable. So this is kind of where this is our new addition HVAC. So we have one existing right here. I'm sorry. We placed on the far west side. Sorry, I'm thinking north. So we'll be putting it right here. So this will be for that new addition right there. This is the existing one that you see, that you saw in the photos earlier, and I can pull those up. So this is where we're at right here. So that's the existing HVAC right there,
Okay.
which is evaporative cooling.
It was on the other side.
And so on the other side, we're just going to put one, but we'll tuck it in the back over here, so it won't be noticeable.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ricky?
Yeah, so mine was kind of a comment to build off of Joel's. Like I'm not hung up about that window. Because the side, like the change in the rocks on the bottom where that wall was continued down, that says that there was already an addition, and then the additional changes that are being made with this new addition to show that like at some point that part of the wall was not there. But other than that, I don't have any other comments.
Okay, did we catch everyone? Carol, did you comment?
Yes, I did. My questions were answered.
Oh, Jan then.
My questions were answered as well. Thank you.
Okay, so are we ready to make a motion? Do we want to talk about anything we want to raise in the motion if it's not as presented?
I think the only thing that maybe we might want to call out just to, they had mentioned that there were two types of materials depending on cost that they might use for the roof. So maybe in the motion, we can recommend approval of either of those, depending on what they decide. So they don't have to, I don't know that they'd have to come back for that, but either rolled or asphalt shingle.
Okay, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, and I think Christian just showed us it's also called out in the plans as
Right,
two options, so that's good.
So basically, if we're approving as presented, then we're
Yeah,
approving
and
either
presented,
option.
then it would cover it. Okay.
That's what I would think. Anyone else, or are we ready for someone to make a motion?
Oh, so that means we can just say approval as presented, right? I just want to make sure. I can make the motion. I just want to make sure it
Yes.
is.
Yes, I believe so, because both options are mentioned. And if we say we approve as presented, which means whatever on the plans.
Okay. I
That's
can make
what
that
I-
motion if,
Okay, go ahead.
on the matter of HPZ 22-026, 616 East 5th Street, we recommend approval as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. Terry says aye. Jan,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Joel,
Yes,
Savannah.
Aye.
Great. The motion passes unanimously 6-0. Thank you. And do you have any questions, Christian, or are you good?
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much for all your help. We really appreciate it.
Yes, and thanks for your presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to case 3D, HPZ 22042 at 825 North 3rd Avenue. This is for to replace a window with the door, renovate the chimney, and relocate the water heater. This is a full review in the West University Historic Preservation Zone. It's a contributing resource and will be using the rehabilitation standards. Staff, would you like to provide an intro?
Yes, Madam Chair, this case was reviewed by West University on the same day, May 17, 2022. And the vote was 5-0 to recommend approval of the project. The only thing they asked from them is that the existing steel door should be replaced with a wood door. And I know that Robert has submitted revised plans that this has been taken care of. And so Robert is here to do the presentation for you.
And I'm sorry, who is?
Robert.
That would be me.
Okay, sorry. I just didn't hear that part for a second.
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
I will, first of all, appreciate what I've had a chance to observe in all the meetings, because being a homeowner, a designer from Seattle, but never having participated in historic reviews, I've always learned a ton.
Thank you.
But I also learned that I don't know a lot about Zoom meetings. So I will go ahead and share my screen here. This is the design zone of the property. We're the building is centered here. I guess I can probably try to make that a little larger with your indulgence. So this is the home. It faces on 3rd Avenue. The design zone are these houses here on 3rd Avenue between University and 2nd. What we are proposing, I didn't realize when I made this plan set up that I would be presenting it in a video presentation. So you have to forgive that your original inventory picture is not horizontal, but that's what it was. I will back up here, back to what I'm proposing to do. I've got to move down pages here now. Down to page 3. I'll go to some photographs in a moment, but and there's an inadvertent rectangle left up in the sky over there. Ignore it. I'm sorry, it's there. I just saw that. There's an existing window in the south elevation that goes into a bathroom. I'm proposing changing that window into a door. This addition on the west end of the building was built in 1995. Now that I've listened to some more of these presentations, I understand why the face of this building is 6 inches recessed behind the corner here for differentiation. I'm sure the roof lines don't exactly match up. On the north side, there's a 1-inch change of plane, kind of insignificant, but it exists. It was done on slab instead of on the brick foundation that the existing house is. It's got a different stucco texture than the existing house. And to some extent, significantly different window styles, but it maintained the gable roof design and a dormer gable on the side, bungalow style. The other thing that's going to be in the proposal here is what I had proposed to West University Review Advisory Board was that I would replace the existing chimney with a framed stucco chimney so that I could remove, because it goes down into the interior in a way that's a waste of space. There's no fireplace or anything in there. It's just in the kitchen for an old wood burning stove. But I'll go to the plans here on page 2 to show you what was going on. This is the existing floor plan. When it had a Jack and Jill bathroom. The previous owner took a sawzall. His mother moved into the house with him the last 2 years he owned it. He cut a hole in the living room floor and installed a temporary bathroom out here for himself. Took a sawzall to the bathtub that was in here and cut a hole through the wall so that his mother could get into it. Installed vanities. He had a business in the home doing hair, so he had vanities here. He added a vanity to the living room. He added a vanity to that bathroom, to that bedroom. Basically altered the interior of this in some cases terrible ways. As the resident in the addition that was built back in '95, the access to the side yard that used to be through the back door of the home traveled down one step past a little half bath that he put in, down another step to the grade level where you would go through a door. I've got a video to show this. And then this is an existing laundry, and this is the new exterior door of that addition. If you can bear with me, I will share this.
The current path to the outside through the back of the house goes through a door at the kitchen, down a step, past the door that leads to a little half bath, down another step, past a door into the bedroom.
Robert, are you showing a video?
I am.
Because we can't see it.
Separates
Oh,
shared laundry.
I'm sorry.
When you shared your screen, you only shared the internet page, which is why we can't see that video.
Okay, so I'm going to back up, and I'm really sorry. I thought when I changed my screen, it would change yours, but that's obviously not the case. So I think what I need to do is put this aside. I think I need to go to this.
Yeah, I think you have to unshare, right? And then
Right,
share
I think I have
again.
to unshare. Come on. Well, I'm doing my best, folks. Oh, there it is. New share. This share. Share that. I'll try this again, folks. Sorry. I thought it was going great.
It's
current
fine.
path
You're fine.
through the back of the house, goes through a door at the kitchen, down a step, past the door that leads to a little half bath, down another step, past a door into the bedroom, to the other door that separates the shared laundry from the guest house apartment, and through that door to a locked door for the outside.
Okay, so I will close that. I will now go back to the screen share and share that plan set. The problems that I experienced with that pathway, besides just being tedious and challenging for anybody who's inside the house to get to the side or backyard without going out the front door, was that it didn't have any separation between the guest apartment and this unit, except for that interior door that you have to unlock each time you went through. So I proposed, yeah, I guess I'm talking about this pathway on the left instead of where my cursor was moving. So I proposed separating that space, creating a wall that, and this is all stuff that doesn't matter to you, but it explains why I wanted to get to the side yard through some other point of egress than the back door of the addition. And when I was first developing my plans and speaking with Jody, she explained that even though I had thought I wanted to go straight out a doorway here and close this window and open another doorway, she said that's really lousy in terms of the historic effect you're having on the south side of the building. It would be much more, potentially much more likely to be approved if you just simply stayed within the limitations of that window and opened up a window either here or here or here to get to that side yard. So I developed these plans so that we could get out this door to step down on this porch and down to the ground. and then I could separate the apartment in the back in this fashion. One of the concerns that people had when I showed that video was that this steel door that's in the video now was, first of all, not a conforming, not a door that would have been approved by West University at this time. And since I need to replace it because it's in poor condition itself, they asked if I would be willing to replace it with the same style of door I was going to install here. So that's part of the application now, is I guess to say that I am, or I don't know if it's part of the application, but my intent as a maintenance procedure of this back building is to replace this door with the same door as this door. The only other thing that I was bringing was the removal or the replacement of this chimney as it goes to the top. I'm going to drop down here to page 8 of the plan. I'll let those pictures load up. In the lower right here is a photo of the chimney now. It was a smooth plastered brick chimney. It goes down to a box that I showed you that I will go back up to in a moment. My intent is to also, I didn't think that this was part of this review process, but I do intend to relocate this gas appliance with the non-compliant. The gas company had told him to turn this off, but for some reason he had it turned back on with this flue being the way that it is. So my intent is to remove this entirely. I'm going to go back up to the plans here. This is the chimney. This is the kitchen. It used to be for a coal or wood-fired cook stove. It's never been a fireplace of any kind. It's not a, one of the people from West University pointed out that it wasn't really an architectural feature on the exterior wall in terms of a fireplace or anything. And West University asked if I would, rather than build a replacement structure to look like that chimney, if I would just be, I could just take it down. I'm open to hearing anything that the group wants to say about that, but this is one aspect of my application. This door is the other. And I think I'm open to questions, and thank you for your patience.
On the question of the chimney, West University felt that rather than if he did what he's proposing, trying to build a stucco thing that would look like original, West University thought that it would be creating a false sense of history. And because it is dilapidated, it is not even useful, West University actually thought that it could just be removed. That was a discussion from West University.
They pointed out that it was relatively far back from the face and not easily seen, but I mean, it's up to you folks, whatever you'd like me to do.
Although, can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
The walls that support the chimney below, those all remain though?
The chimney would be, I would be taking the chimney right down to the ground. That would become that empty, that chimney on the interior is wrapped with framing and lath and plaster on the interior, but I would remove that in favor of additional kitchen space.
Okay, but you're not showing that currently in the plans, is that right? I don't see a kitchen layout or
Actually, I'd done that verbally, and I guess, no, I'm not showing that in the plans. I can alter the plans on the inside to put a note there to be removed. I'm totally into that. That was the intent of the description I wrote when I did in the resources material that I sent in with my application originally, but I should put the note here. I'd be glad to do that. That would be removed.
This is Ricky. I would just like that reflected in the plans, because that kind of seems like a decent amount that's being removed.
Oh, I'm sorry, the amount, you're saying that the amount.
If you're taking out like all of that plaster that's inside and removing the chimney to the ground.
Right. Yes, I guess there's not much point to leaving the brick chimney in place below the roof. So,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, I think like my point, and probably Ricky's too, is like that you're describing things that we're not seeing yet. So
I understand that.
and then even when you're talking about what's existing, you're talking about vanities and all this work that's been done. And yet we don't see it in the existing plan. So I think just some clarity in the plans as to original versus proposed, right? Or a clarification of what's demolished or the demoed items.
I guess, I'm sorry, what I put together in the existing building plans that are on the left is the way the building was existing interior before the owner attacked it 2 years ago. I considered those to be, I mean, right now I've got if you want me to draw in the 18-inch by 60-inch hole that he cut in the living room floor between joists, I can do that. But I mean, my basic idea is to get rid of everything that he did in the last 2 years to restore the interior to as great an extent like it was, except because of what was done in the back end here to create the hallway through here. But if you had seen what this was, it sat on the market for almost 2 months because nobody could stand to walk to bid on it. It was a mess. But I understand that the actual physical removal of this chimney is an alteration to the original house built in 1924 and should have been noted. I would be thrilled to do that. But if you want me to dot in all his little alterations that are being removed, I can do that.
I think it's more just when plans are submitted for us to know what's being removed, right? Just so that we can fully understand the scope of what you're proposing.
Right. So what I'm showing you here is the as-built house historically and up until very recently, with the addition having been built in 1995. Most of the changes that I just discussed is, and maybe I shouldn't have even mentioned them, but the attacks that the owner made on the property, because he really was trying to cope with a difficult situation in his mind. And this was a coping mechanism that he came up with, really have no relationship to how this historic structure was and the change to it that I'm representing here. And even it's all driven by the fact that to get to the outside of the house, you either walk through the front door now, or you go through the journey that I described to you over here to get through this door.
No, it's good that you mention things and to talk them through, because especially when interior changes affect the exterior or you know what I mean? So.
Sure.
Okay, so who's next with questions?
This is Jan, and I guess I just, to follow on the chimney thing, I guess I'll kind of express a bit of a contrarian perspective, maybe. It seems like in the past, at least in some neighborhoods where there's been a chimney, even when it's non-functional, we've asked for it to remain as an external feature. And I guess, at least from what I'm seeing, I don't understand how rehabilitating an existing chimney creates a false sense of history in the same way that, whereas putting on a new chimney would do that. But restoring a chimney that's failing, I guess I'm not convinced that's a false sense of history. And so I'm not aware of situations where we've just said, yeah, take the chimney off because you're not using it. But I guess I look to Jody a little bit for guidance on that.
Yeah, Jody?
I would say if you're restoring the chimney, it's not creating a false sense of history. It's in its original location and speaks to its original function. If you remove what is on the interior, that's your prerogative, because we don't regulate that anyways. We have no say over that.
Yeah.
But the chimney even if it's like not a main chimney for the house, like they have the big decorative chimney that, you know, is in the living room and everything like that, and it stands proud on the exterior facade wall, as that, you know, this speaks to the kitchen facilities that were there, and that were used. I'm a firm believer, actually, that it should be maintained. It speaks to the history of the house and the functions that were there, even if they've been kind of messed around with how the functions are there now on the interior. If you were to relocate that chimney someplace else, that would be creating a false sense of history, because you're moving it around when it wasn't originally there. I have had people in the past who've wanted to not necessarily restore it, but into extent restore it, but make it of a different material. So it still speaks to the chimney that was there originally, but it's lighter on the roof. So that it's for all intents and purposes the same thing. It's a faux chimney now. But it still speaks to the history of what it was, where it was, that there was a function there that required the use of it, etc.
Mhm. So Jody, just to recap, probably the best thing to do would be to rehabilitate the chimney that's coming off the roof, and then they could remove that portion that comes down into what was the kitchen.
If
Yeah.
I can come, just to make a quick clarification,
Yeah.
based on what I heard Jody just say, I would probably be, I wouldn't be allowed to take it down, because it does speak to the historic use of that area and that structure in the cooking history of the home. Replacing it with a lighter structure, but that would look the same as the existing structure, would be acceptable. I can't rebuild the bricks that are in bad condition up there and also remove this structure below, because of course the weight issue. That's why I think I heard Jody say of a lighter structure. That's what I proposed originally when I made my proposal, is just to replace that with something that would be smooth plastered, same dimensions, same height, same location, and then remove the structure below. Is that what you said, Jody, would be acceptable?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving information. Ultimately, it's PRS that will make a recommendation, and they could recommend that you restore the existing brick that's there. You, in theory, will have brick from when you demo what's down below that you could reuse on the top. Or
I don't have any way to support it up there if I take the bricks out below.
Or they can, you know, recommend that it's acceptable to be rebuilt with a different material. But ultimately, that would be.
Oh, I totally understand. It's their prerogative. I support that.
Well, thank you, Jody, because that's more consistent with my understanding of where we've been before. I only had one other question, and that just has to do with the elevations that you showed for existing and proposed. And I think it's just a plan error maybe, but it looks like on the south elevation, what you show as the existing door is the same as what you show for the proposed new door. And then the existing door, or the door on the guest or the rear door is different on the proposed elevation. So I guess I have something quick to ask Michael and Jody. This is the plan set that I went to West University. I just recognized this when she was speaking. This is the plan set that I submitted to West University. And then I was asked to make corrections of those very items and resubmit, so that set of plans could be brought here today. But that's not what we're looking at. The discussions that she's making have been made on the plan set that was uploaded before last week. But it sounds like from what you're saying, though, that the existing south elevation is wrong on this plan set too, right? Is that
correct?
Right?
It shows the wrong door on the addition. That door there should have been here.
Yeah.
But those things were all corrected in the plan set that I uploaded last week.
Okay.
They also noted that the HVAC was on the roof here, but was not on the new roof, but not on the old roof, when in fact it is on the old roof. So there were several corrections that had been made to this plan set before I thought they were going to get here.
Do you want to present those plans for us so that we can?
I can't. I mean, I can bring them up myself here, but it's going to have, I can open the files on my desk, but they were uploaded to the portal last week. I can't get to those things from where I am, but I can open up another set if you would like to see it. I'd be glad to.
I didn't have your revised set at the time when I uploaded these, and I guess Michael didn't get them to upload them. So if you want to close these and just open them up from your desktop
I can do that. Just a moment.
That'd be
and
great.
share it.
I'll be right there. Okay, I'm loading that up now. Okay. Share screen. And let's go here. Thank you for your patience, folks. Yes, better. Because the other thing that West University had asked for is for the description of the door to be evident, easily seen. So this is the door that I would be putting into this location and this location instead of the existing steel door here. You'll see the HVAC correction. My little flying cube is gone. Otherwise, I think I hope this answers some of your questions.
So now this has a note that the brick chimneys, let's see.
That was per West University's
Okay.
recommendation.
So
But
if we
I-
want, okay, so we'd have to call it out if we wanted to do something different.
And I'd be glad to make that change. Thrilled to, whatever you'd like.
Thank you. Don't have any other questions.
Okay, who's still there? Who's still making comments?
I mean, I have a few questions on this.
Yes,
since
yes,
it's brought
go
up.
ahead.
So that laundry door, it was part of the addition and you're replacing it to, as well.
Yeah, just to fix something that a member of the board said, that looks terrible. And I said, I think so too. I'll replace it with the same door.
Okay. The windows look different too. There's no change to those?
I'm sorry, I don't see the change in the windows.
There's like they just, from the existing to the new, there's like a trim piece or something missing.
Oh, I see. No, yeah, I think that it shows a casing on that one, on the lower one that's actually incorrect. The upper one has the stucco wrap on the window that's the existing. So I will go back and delete those.
Okay, and then the existing east, from what you're showing now versus what you previously showed, that door is to remain as is.
Yeah, that's a carved wood door on the front of the building that exists at this time.
Okay. And then north elevation, no changes except as proposed to the chimney.
Yeah, that's correct. It's really just those two items, the door and the chimney.
Now looking at these plans, I guess I have one other question. You've got those vertical elements on the existing elevation that are gone on
That's a. Yeah.
either side.
That doesn't exist. That line doesn't exist. I should have blocked that out of view.
And the other two don't either?
These lines don't exist either. It's a function of the cross-section tool I must have used when I brought this elevation up.
Okay, thank you.
This is Ricky. So on that door that they were requesting be changed, were they saying it looks bad, like as it didn't match the house, or it looks bad as in there's damage to the door?
No, well, I know the damage to the door. They were looking at the exterior of it and said, oh, it's part of I don't know if historic review usually allows you to go back and say, on that addition, would you please change that door? But they expressed the feeling like that door was not one that they would have supported if it was brought to them right now. And I said I'd be glad to replace it, but that really isn't part of the, I'm just going to bring that one into something of a match on the house. If you want me to leave it as the steel door, I'd be glad to do that. But and I can replace it with a steel door. It requires some maintenance, but just replacing kind for kind, unless I'm told to redo it with something like I'm doing now.
I just wanted to clarify that. And then this new door has a panel of windows at the top that.
It's that color photo here.
Okay.
That is the door.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Archie.
Oh, mine's about the chimney. So if yours is relating to the door, you can go first.
Well, yeah, it's just I'm looking at the north elevation compared to the photo, and that looks like there's more. There's a wrought iron like screen door there, and there's a window missing. Those are just to remain, right?
Let me see the existing north elevation. Yeah, there's nothing. The window, none of the window or door there are changing. That's
okay. It's just it's shown differently than the photos, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I'm glad you can go to the photos so quickly. I can't get there right now.
And then for the chimney, sorry, were you done?
No, I just wanted to make sure we're just talking about replacing the window, replacing the door, and then the chimney,
yeah.
So go on the chimney.
Well, the chimney, I would like to see like the chimney stay there with the alternate lighter option versus taking all of it down so that it looks like it was never there. I understand that you're taking out the inside part, so you would have to replace with that lighter option on the top. I'm okay with that. So that you have
fine.
space on the inside.
That's what I had originally proposed.
Oh, I'm done if anyone had anything else.
Okay, anyone else?
This is Joel. I think it is important to keep the vestigial chimney above the roof line, but I'm kind of in agreement with Ricky that in my mind, it's not a functional thing. So if it's going to look the same and we're only preserving it for its looks, then I would support a lighter option also. And that's my only comment, I believe, the window with the door. And to thank, is it Robert Knodel? Is that how you pronounce it?
The last name it's pronounced Knodel, but I get it there's 1,000 ways.
And I know that the rest of the folks on this commission do too, that we appreciate folks coming in and saving these old houses and putting work into them. And we really appreciate what you homeowners do. So thank you for getting in there and saving this house. which is just almost around the corner from mine. So I appreciate it very much.
Oh, you're really welcome. But I
Yeah.
was a contractor in Seattle.
Oh, you were, okay.
And so the amount of work here is not a challenge. But
Right.
we bought the house because we sort of could see through the problems that it had to the kind of house that it is. We honestly will rent this out for a couple of years while we live over on the west side of the mountains, but we intend to be living in this home in the near future.
Yeah, it just helps our neighborhoods when people come in and sort of save them from dilapidation, you know?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah. And so you saw it before, so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, let's talk about what a motion might look like so we can move forward. I mean, now that we've seen the updated plans, we should probably reference that because, I mean, Jody, is it an issue that West University hasn't seen it again?
No, it should not be any issue because he's just complying with the things that they requested him to do.
Okay, very good. Okay.
And Robert, would you please send these plans to us, please?
Send these plans where?
To us. To our-
I sent you Jody an email saying that I was able to upload this set through the portal, but that it's was too large of a file to send to you. And so you told me you understood that, and that was fine. I'd be glad to try, but it's a large file.
Okay.
So it sounds like if we're okay with that, it would be the revised plans. I don't know if we want to reference the June 2nd date, but so plans as revised with the exception that the chimney be replaced to
Match existing somehow.
yeah, to visually replace the existing chimney or something like that. I don't know.
Do we also want to make a comment about this south elevation on this plan also shows what looks like vertical elements that maybe should be,
Yes.
that should be taken off of there.
Yeah, there are several of those that I should remove.
Thank you.
Then the proposed elevation is correct. So I should correct the existing.
Okay, does someone have all these things noted and want to proceed with a motion? And let's be real careful so we don't have to amend it. Anyone?
Well, is everybody okay with the light chimney? If so, I could probably do it. So I move that we, in the matter of HPZ 22-042, 825 North Third Avenue, that we approve the revised plans of June 2nd as submitted, noting that the chimney can be made with lighter materials. I think that's it.
And the approval of the door, window to door.
And then yeah, but that's as presented in the plans, yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. Mrs. Carroll.
Okay, is there discussion?
Just one question, in all this we lost, where's the water heater gonna go?
It's going to go to the interior. It's going to actually be located in the attic area so that it doesn't occupy floor space. It's at a premium on the interior of the home. And then I've got to submit that as plumbing plans for the city when they do their construction review.
So is that noted? Is that plan note? I mean, is your intent to do that noted on these plans?
No, it's not on these plans. I was told to submit this set of plans, and then when I submit them to the city, add the construction pages but I can put a note. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry you have to amend your motion or back up a second, but I think that my existing north elevation does not show the water heater that exists there now. So I should put that back in with a note saying to be relocated to the interior of the structure. That might be, and then put some notes on the plan sheets to the same effect.
Okay, so someone's gonna have to amend the motion to add that.
Do we need to add that? Because this is the plan. If this is the final plan won't have the hot water heater there. So why would it be? put
Because
on?
it's an agenda item that we haven't dealt with. So we're approving
Yeah.
something we've never heard about.
Yeah, and I
And
didn't
it's
know that.
not showing on the
Okay,
existing
okay.
elevation.
Michael, maybe you can explain to me how that ended up. I thought we were just doing the chimney and the door. How did the water heater get into the discussion?
Well, I think we're removing it from the outside, and that's it. And I think that shows in the plan. So I think that's subsumed in the motion already.
Is that what you're seeing, Jody and Michael, that we don't need to modify the motion?
At this point, I don't think there is any reason to modify the motion.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call then. I will vote aye on the motion. Jan,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Joel,
Yes,
and Savannah.
Okay.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously 6-0. And Jody, can you explain the next steps, please, to the applicant?
Hi, Robert. Just like you heard before, both the recommendations will be forwarded to the director, who will issue a decision letter. You've gotten a couple of those already, but this decision letter will have a 14-day appeal period. During that time, you can appeal, West University Historic Zone Advisory Board could appeal, or PRS could appeal. And if there's an appeal, then it goes to mayor and council. We don't get a lot of appeals. If there's no appeals, then you will resubmit your revised plans per the conditions in the decision letter to Development Services, along with the decision letter and a response letter that, because they tell you need historic review. So you have a response letter says, I did the historic review and here's what I made changes to, blah, blah, blah. And then you can get your permit issued.
Can I just say, I appreciate the patience you have with the presentation, because I know it was a little choppy for you folks, and I appreciate your questions. And I truly appreciate the time you take to spend making these decisions, and I'm happy all around. Thank you very much.
Sure, good luck with your project.
You'll
Thank
see
you.
it down the road here, I'm sure.
Okay,
Great.
thank you. Do you want to unshare, sir? And then
Yes.
that'd be great. Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item 4, which is the Task Force on Inclusivity Report Recommendations. 4A is the discussion on incorporation of the Task Force on Inclusivity Report Recommendations, which is the draft document, best practices document. And Jody and Michael, I would ask that in the future, we use the wording that's on the June 2nd special meeting agenda, okay? Because we have a thing, it's not just incorporating the recommendations. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. So we did have a meeting on June 2nd. I sent in a very simple LAR on that. I told you all that I wasn't going to go into an hour-and-a-half transcription on that. And so Jody and Michael, did you get that LAR? Did it look okay?
It did.
Okay, and it was just very simple, so I
fine.
didn't send it around so we can get that posted. So the plan is to, for our working group to make the revisions, and then I think we decided we would send it out for some external additional review that staff had wanted. And Jody has also mentioned on yesterday's meeting that, on the full commission meeting, that she sent it to the city's new inclusivity officer or person or whatever. And so we will need to probably have another special meeting again, because I know that I don't have the bandwidth to do a full discussion after 4 long cases. So anything that Ricky or Carol, you wanted to add?
No, but I feel the same way.
No.
3-hour meetings are pretty long.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I know I've got grandkids here, so it's kind of.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask Michael and Jody, I've been messaging and no one ever responds to me. So do we know who Ms. Ina Ronquillo is?
She is our new PIO. The nobody gets this joke, but this is it's our communist arm. She's like, you know, make sure that we're sending out the right messages and not saying anything wrong, like I just did.
Well, is that so? Ms.
I'm just
Ronquillo,
here to
you're the,
observe, to
She's-
watch.
you're the inclusivity person?
No. She's our department's PIO, Public Information Officer.
Okay, and it would be great if in the future when we have someone we don't know, because I messaged her and I messaged you and no one responded to me.
Oh, sorry. I think my laptop was blocking that. part
Yeah,
of the
and
screen.
the thing is, I'm always expected to know who these folks are, and then half the time I don't. So,
She's
so that's why I asked. Welcome.
Yeah, she's relatively new. She's only been here for a few weeks, and she's kind of making the rounds to get a feel
Good.
for our department. She's been updating our webpage, and she'll be helping with messaging that goes out from our department on various topics. And so she's a much needed person in our department.
Well, great. Maybe she could message the success of the pump house move or something. I mean, that's a huge deal, actually.
I can talk to her about it.
Yeah, that's what Ken was mentioning yesterday. So anyway, welcome.
I'm sorry, I just saw your message. I would have typed
Oh,
that. in
that's
the
okay.
chat.
No, it's hard because I have to pay attention to all the little blocks on the the thing. And
It's
and I
very
get-
nice to meet all of you, though.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, let's move on then to item 5, which is current issues for information discussion. Item 5A is minor reviews. Can we have an update, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, since the last time, I believe we have done like about 8 minor reviews. We have 3 of them in Amory Park, about 4 of them in West University, and 1 in the Barrio. The ones in Amory Park, Jen did all those for us. There was one at 619 South 3rd Avenue, which was for the roof. There was one at 825 South 2nd Avenue, which was for the
For the what?
air condition and the condenser.
HVAC, basically?
Yes.
Okay,
And then the third one in America was for a temporary fence during construction.
I'm sorry, I can't understand this. The third one is what?
A fence
A temporary fence with new construction.
Where?
in Amory Park. The address was 515 South 6.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? You can mention them and I'm gonna let you fill in that section.
Yes, please. I can do
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
then in West University, Ricky helped us with this. There was one at 304 for the 304 East 4th Street for the solar panel. The second one, which was 825 North 10th Avenue, was also for a solar panel. We have a continued case, which is very rare, for a sign in the barrel. Maybe Ricky can talk to you about this, what happened during that review.
Yeah, that was a meeting. So, well, the first one was fine. The second minor review that was in there was another solar panel, but the solar panel company didn't include some things that they were supposed to on their design. So they're supposed to, like, Michael updated plans for that. The third one that was a sign, the neighborhood person, Philip, who was there, he was not happy with how the sign was. So they were going to mount the sign only 1.5 inches in and have on a 7-foot panel 6 mounts. And he didn't like that because, and I believe this too, it just didn't seem like a deep enough mount and that there weren't enough considering it was metal. So the argument went on long enough that now it's turning into a second meeting. I guess in the meantime, they're trying to amend the plans to work better. It was also their initial person who had created the plans wasn't able to get into the Zoom meeting. So it was kind of a back and forth through their representative, which lengthened it quite a bit.
Thank you, Ricky. And then today, we did 2 minor reviews in West University. Joy helped us with that. There was one for the wrought iron, and then there was one for a wall and gates. Anybody want to talk about that?
Yes, so the one at 503 4th Street was just a routine minor thing about fencing that is just going in on top of the basalt wall. And the question was the banana peel picket, which looks beautiful and fits right into the neighborhood. So we approved that. The next one was 311 East 5th. And Michael, I'm still not sure what the status is. I think that's an ongoing review. They're going to submit a revised petition, which then I guess we'll have to go review again. Is that fair enough, Michael?
That's fair enough.
Yeah. So we'll be looking at that, when they resubmit it.
So those are the minor reviews I have done within the last year.
Okay, so you have other upcoming that you'll contact people?
Yeah, I will have to contact people for those.
Okay,
And
Okay.
really, we are going to go back to this one in West in the barrio. As soon as I get the plans back, I will reschedule that.
Okay. I can do a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday any week on that.
Okay, thank you.
right, thank you. Item 5B, appeals.
There's no pending, Madam Chair.
Okay, item 5C, zoning violations.
We continue to work on them as a come due.
Okay. Item 5D, review process issues. Does anyone want to bring anything up as a review process thing?
Terry, Joel, just real quickly, there was some discussion at the commission meeting about in-person meetings and going back to them. I just wanted to put in one vouch for doing in-person meetings, just because I'd like to meet you all, and say hello. But so that's just my little input.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Oh, we haven't, the mayor and council has gone back in person, but we haven't received really any direction from the city clerk's office on everybody else going back in person. Once we hear something, I'll definitely let you know.
But as was noted yesterday, Rick encouraged us to write to boards and commissions. So as chair, I'm going to write and say that we request to remain virtual, because I think we will lose a quorum if we have to go back, because I barely can get a quorum with 12, and there's people that are not going to go down to the meeting and all that. And, the mayor and council has made it difficult for us. It's a miracle that we've maintained the commission with so few members, because they refuse to reappoint. And the county has done that. The county has kept their appointments up so that and as you notice, many of the people on plans review today are county appointees, and other people, as soon as I send that email to boards and commissions, I'm going to blind copy everyone and they can send their own messages. I mean, I think it would be fine if we could guarantee that we would have a quorum for plans review, but I'm not sure we can, because, I travel for work, but still I get on the meetings. Jan calls in when she's traveling to deal with family matters. So, a lot of the times Ricky will call us on her phone because she's between work things. So, I mean, it'd be nice to see everyone, but do you think it's really feasible, Jody?
I'm biased. When I have to go to the Armory Park meetings and they get out at 9 or 9:30 and I'm at home, and while they're at the meeting, I can eat dinner while they're talking, it works great for me. So I'm like probably not the best person to like ask that question of. But I do think it can go both ways. I mean, you have people who don't readily have internet access. And to be honest, I'm at the office today and my internet access is spotty. And so it is kind of a trying to be inclusive kind of thing, you know, by having it in person, and it could be, you know, something that we're looking at trying to do hybrid so that we could have some of it in person and some of it, you know,
That would be
where
great.
people could
Yeah.
call in. So it really is technology kind of how we work that out. And I'm sure just like we had growing pains with getting online, we're going to have growing pains with getting offline or going into a hybrid situation.
Yeah, so maybe, you know, maybe I can mention, you know, or maintain the option for people to do one or the other, you know,
Yeah.
like a hybrid option, because yeah, I totally agree with that. So anything else on review process?
Oh, I will let you know, as a side note, I'm sorry, Savannah and Ricky have their hands up. But we are now putting recordings of our meetings online.
Mhm.
So I don't know if everybody noticed that, but when you went to the webpage to sign in, there's a link to go to YouTube so you can watch the meetings, just in
Okay.
case you want to rewatch something.
Oh, and I get to watch them. So, I mean, I know how much fun it is to listen to them again. Savannah or Ricky, who wants to go next?
Yeah, I feel like that's even more incentive for me to keep my camera off. I don't know. But on that meeting, about the in-person hybrid, are they gonna vote on that? Or is that gonna be something where all of a sudden they're just like, oh, you're in person now without warning?
You know, for the city clerk, I don't think it's going to be a vote issue. It's going to them issuing their statement. When we initially went to online, they had a lot of concern about open meeting law, and whether being online met the requirements for that. And I was pushing, actually. I was like, I have projects that are sitting around waiting to review. I need you to like figure out how we're going to do this. And so you know, we were pushing for, I definitely was pushing for this, but they will just issue what they think after probably researching, talking to the city attorney and looking at how other cities are handling it. They'll issue their ultimatum and we will follow it.
But also, Jody, Rick really said that they want to hear from people on boards and commissions.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll take that into account.
Yeah, and so I think it's really important that once I send that message and everyone's blind copied, that you also respond to boards and commissions and say what you feel. So anyway, anything else? Oh, who else had their hand up? Savannah, go ahead.
I did, yeah. And I guess my question was if there will be a distinction perhaps, and maybe this becomes a non-issue with the separation, but between the Historic Commission and plans review when it comes to in person, because I mean, just in the example that happened today with the applicant being like, oh, well, I can pull up these revised set of plans. I mean, there's just a lot of advantages, I think, of the virtual when it comes to looking at the screen. And then I can also look at the plans and look at a different page, you know, just there's a lot of resource there. But that doesn't really apply to the Historic Commission meeting. So maybe, I don't know, there's some
right, because now
distinction there.
Now all of our plans are digital instead of, we used to have paper plans that we could rustle around at meetings.
Right. And yeah, my question was about that. I mean, so when I was on design review board, we got tablets and we were able to, you know, the applicant presented, but then we were also able to scroll through on our own and look at plans. So was that how it was for plans review previously? And is that a consideration to have kind of our own set to
We
look
only
through?
had paper plans when we were meeting in person.
Okay.
And we don't, and now the city does not even get paper plans. Everything is submitted online. So we won't be going back to distributing paper plans. Just FYI to everybody, that's not something that we'll be revisiting. So it is, you know, and that's part of it. We will have to figure that out, how we're going to do that, if we're going to give you tablets to use during the meeting, or if there's our ability when we meet in person to have a screen. We've done here some staff meetings kind of in a hybrid thing where we were able to see a screen when they showed their PowerPoint presentation and whatever, and then the people that were in the room physically were also able to see that. The only thing is that the way that the room was set up, you can't see everybody around the table because the way the screen is. So it's definitely something, a kink that we'll have to work out.
Okay. All right, anyone else have a comment? Okay, then item 6 is summary of public comments. Did you receive anything, Jody, by the deadline?
I did not.
Okay. What item 7 is future agenda items for upcoming meetings, and what does the agenda look like?
I believe that we have some projects coming in from the review boards. I don't have an exact one for you, but yesterday I did mention that probably in the near future, you'll be seeing the Euclid and Speedway project.
Okay, so we're likely going to have a separate meeting to go over this, hopefully nearly final draft of the best practices. But I'm not sure when that will be, but so are people going to be fairly available, or is anyone taking an extended vacation or wishes they could take an extended vacation? What do people think?
I'll be on the road again and in and out of contact starting on the 5th of July.
The only day I'm not available is the 21st because I'm not doing anything on my birthday.
Oh, okay, so no Ricky. So then I have an issue.
I'm be gone from the 1st through the 7th of July.
I tell you what, could everyone just email Jody and Michael and copy me so that we know, because I'm not taking these notes down well. And I have a favor to ask you. I have a company meeting the week of the 20th, and there's no way I can get back from California. Like, no matter which airlines I looked at, I miss the beginning of plans review. So are people coming on, it's the 23rd. So are people attending on the 23rd?
I
23rd
am.
of June?
So
23rd of June.
Yes, I will be there.
And Joel will be there.
Yes.
How about you, Savannah? Yes? And Jan and
Yes.
Carol?
Yes, I have it down. So far, it looks okay.
Okay, so what I could do is as soon as I jump off the plane in Phoenix, go somewhere and get on the meeting, or Jan, would you be willing to chair until I can get on or not get on?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question before we trip along too far? This is Joel. Jody, I have to recuse myself from, I think, the Euclid Speedway project. Do you have any more of a precise timeline on that when that's going to be coming up?
No, sorry. Probably, I mean, I want to say within the next 2 to 3 months. But that's probably as precise as it's going to get.
Okay, so that's not coming. It's not like imminent. It's not like the 23rd.
But you don't think
No, it's not the 23rd. No,
Yeah,
no.
So you don't think anyone has to recuse on the 23rd with potential cases?
No.
Okay, that'd be good. So I will try to get on as soon as I can after that, but we'll be in touch before then, so. Okay, anything else about future agenda items, Jody or Michael?
I think that's it.
That should be
Okay. So thanks everyone for being on, and I'll look forward to getting the recording, and we'll adjourn at 3:19. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Courtney. Hello, John, whoever else is on. I know.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
Carrie, could I talk to you real quick?
Sure.
Thank you.
And
You
then-
can stop the
Bye-bye.
recording.